Formal introductions. Pat Caputo, Stoney, 97 won the ticket for both these guys. Pat, take a pick. Ace, stopper, best pitcher in baseball. What do you want to go with? All three?
Well, I'd say it was kind of like you had a little pack of dogs and another pack of dogs, and they were kind of growling at each other. And today the alpha dog showed up and said, "Woof!" And they all went away, man. And the Guardians got to him a little bit in the past, especially in the playoffs. So, he went in there and he dominated. He went out there and set himself as that alpha dog, man.
And that's what aces are supposed to do, stop losing streaks. He did it, and people were getting a little nervous. They lost 3 in a row. The hitting wasn't. It was basically, they played the last 3 games like we thought they would going into the season. Good starting pitching, the hitting, defense, but you know what? That's baseball. You're going to lose 3 games
Cleveland,
in a row.
they
Cleveland's
lost.
Good.
Yeah, Cleveland plays this type of game where they'll take a run from you, like Ramirez, or they'll take a run away from you like they do defensively. They don't give you a lot.
Right.
And the Tigers were kind of giving them a lot. They gave them 2 games. Cleveland showed up here ready. And until today, the Tigers were able to bite back. They should have won the game yesterday. But again, if you make a minor mistake, which in a way that Verlaine did, not looking back to see and let the runner score, you make a minor mistake like that, it ends up costing you against those guys. Torque didn't do anything wrong on that grounder. It was just a great play by Ramirez.
Right.
And today, Skubal went out there, nothing.
Right. And that's what you anticipate he's going to do. That's the definition of an ace. That's the definition of a starter. That's the guy that they believe he is. And, man, he went out there and proved it.
Well, 102.6 miles an hour.
The 94th pitch of the game, your fastest pitch of the day.
And then, he could easily drop just this changeup that kind of comes in and drops down at 80. I mean, he's the best pitcher in baseball right now.
And for us old timers, it was just nice to see a complete game again.
Stoney, speak for yourself.
Well, there's only been 8 of them the entire year. 8 of them the entire year. And, somebody put up there, well, somebody had 19 or whatever. And Mickey Lolich had 28 in 1971.
Yes, right.
And the entire league had 28 last year. And it was his first one. The pitch count mattered, and every time it happens, we got to mention Greg Maddux.
Because he's under 100 pitches with a complete game.
Right.
Look, if he's on pitch 116, he's not completing that game.
No.
He's too valuable to do that.
And they got to pace him.
But and let me just throw in a little historical perspective. The Maddux game, under 100 pitches, 13 strikeouts and under 100 pitches. It's the first time it's ever been done, breaking the old record of 12, which was held by, among other people, Sandy Koufax. That's really good company.
Well, he's got Sandy Koufax. I don't think he ever threw a 102.6 mile an hour fastball to end the game on pitch 94.
I don't think did they have.
And as good as he was,
I don't know if they had clocks back then for that.
Yeah, really incredible stuff. Tough series with the Giants coming up. Look, anything from this weekend that you look at, you say, a little troubling, or do you just say that's baseball, 162 games, you're going to lose 3 games in a row at some point? It's only the second time they have all year. This team's been amazingly consistent.
And the first time was the first 3 games of the season. The magic number is 106. So, look, it is baseball. Great teams, and the Tigers are good, but they're not great teams throughout history have gone on 6, 7, 8 game losing streaks. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, there are some. Their bullpen's not as strong as you would like it to be. And there's a couple of cracks in the armor there, and the Torque and some of the other hitters are starting to swing at some of those sliders. Cleveland took advantage of that. Again, a little bit of that impatience instead of taking it the other way, trying to hit the 3-run homer. Although I thought Verlaine helped him coming back in that regard with a couple hits.
Let me ask you this: Who gets sent down when Meadows and Perez come back?
Jahan, and I don't know who the other person would be. But I don't know if Winsell Perez really should be in the major leagues, to be honest with you. Parker Meadows did hit a home run today.
All things that they will have to work through and problems you like to have if it means you're getting healthy.
The other thing about Skubal's start, everybody talks about how Rogers has always been his designated catcher. Today was Dingler, and that's a good sign going forward.
Absolutely. It's just a good sign all the way around with the way that he pitched today. This week, we got Detroit. He's going to be the favorite. Alex Pillow coming in. Just an amazing run that he's on right now. Best we have seen in Indy in 60 years, since A.J. Foyt in 1964. And for guys that have been around, just the thought and seeing those cars running through the streets of Detroit is a cool thing.
It's a cool thing. And when I first moved here, they used to have like the F1s. Remember that? And they used to, Alain Prost, they used to complain about the road. Oh, the Detroit coast is so bumpy. We don't like it here. So they moved it to
We've all said that at one time or another.
I know. It'll be cool.
No, it's a great thing for the city. There's no doubt. I'll be broadcasting from there. Look forward to it. You got a great view up on top of the Renaissance Center. See them whipping by. It's cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, anytime you get a chance to spotlight the city, and Detroit has become so well known now for holding big events and doing a great job with them. And that's a great thing to be known for.
Absolutely.
So. And we are the Motor City, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that.
Good point by you.
Yes.
Motors will be revving coming up next week. All right, let's get to the Lions. It was really cool to see Aiden Hutchinson back this week, meeting with the media. And when he did, look, we've all been talking about when Aiden comes back, but when he says he's fully cleared, it didn't take long to get a feel for his mindset and the fact that he is excited to be back in 2025.
I'm rolling with the boys now, and it feels like I'm back to being myself again. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to. I mean, I think this is the most excited I've been for OTAs in my life. This is the biggest hiatus I've had without playing ball, so I'm pumped. I don't think anybody in the game of football will ever be as grateful when I come back in that first game and I get to play football and I get to do it on the big stage again. That's what sets my heart on fire right there.
Stoney, really cool in Allen Park this week just to see him. We hadn't seen him in a while. We hadn't seen him address the media in a while. And to answer questions, you just got a feel for where he was at. And you kind of look at him and say, oh, yeah, this guy's kind of one of the best players in the NFL. Good to have him back.
He was until he got hurt, absolutely. And, everybody's going to be talking about, well, does this mean, his contract's going to get done before the season? He will probably, if he does sign, it'll be the highest paid defensive player in the league. It's a nice problem for him. And then the Lions have to figure out what they're going to do with other players. And
it's a function of being the latest.
Yes,
and that's
exactly
what happens in this league. And the Lions, to their credit, they have a number of players that are at or near the top of the position group that they play at.
Right.
And they ultimately have to get paid like that. They'll have to figure that out along the way, Pat. But the important thing is 97 will be back for this team. And we know what a difference he can make.
The other thing is, last time he had an injury like this, he came out way determined.
Yes.
It's a bone injury, too. And I'm not a medical person, obviously. But I read what the team, Dr. Kyle Anderson, said about it. And, he, from what I know, covering all these sports for a long time, a bone injury heals. So, and that's what he basically said. It looks terrible, but it heals. And he had one like this before, and he came out, and he was just lights out. He's a very determined, outstanding football player. Yeah. And when the Lions get him back, it's going to make a major difference. If he had not gotten hurt, I don't know, they would have gone 16-1 or whatever.
That's hard to improve on 15-2.
Yeah, but their schedule is so difficult, all those things, and people are underestimating how good he is because they don't think he's going to come back. I think he will.
It's interesting, Stoney, listening to the players this week. Last year was so much about that San Francisco game. It was so much about rebounding from that. Now it's just seemed that, look, they know they're good. But they also understand now, having been through it twice and been to the playoffs and come up short, that it takes everything you've got. It is very fragile, and there's not much room for error.
And they also know, no matter what they want to say, that they do hear a little of the noise. Oh, we have a tougher schedule, as Pat mentioned. We lost both our coordinators and some other coaches. Some players are getting older. I think they're going to be really determined to prove the few skeptics wrong here.
All those things are true, though.
Yeah, yes.
All those things are things you have to look. I think every schedule in this league is tough.
Yeah.
Their schedule is tough. But the new coordinators, look, we may believe in these guys, but ultimately they have to go out there and get it done.
Well, that's on Dan Campbell because was it the head coach or the coordinators, what people say, and there's a lot of change and underlying, type of turbulence. But that is a really, really good team. The NFC North's a lot better, though.
Yeah. Not that it was bad last year.
No.
Yeah, it depends a lot on J.J. McCarthy, what he can do. But the Packers have loaded up down through the years. Love will be healthy. Bears have got a better team in Ben Johnson. And certainly, if McCarthy can play quarterback, the Vikings are loaded. They really are. Up front, all those teams have followed the Lions' blueprint.
Yeah.
Load up front.
We will see what happens. Going to be very interesting to be sure. Training camp coming up, and we'll be starting early because of the Hall of Fame game. Guys, what has jumped out to you about the playoffs? To me, it's been recently just the explosiveness. You look at Florida, 5 goals in 9.5 minutes last night to blow that one open. Edmonton today, you just saw there, and outscoring Dallas 9-1 in games 2 and 3 to take the lead.
To me, it's those two teams, obviously. I mean, Florida, I believe, has 21 players who have scored points in the playoffs. Edmonton, it's like 18 or 19. And I think what we're going to have here, unless Dallas can get their act together, we're going to have a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. And I still think Florida is the better team. But, Pat, I know you know this. If you remember when Edmonton first won, they lost to the Islanders, and then the year after, they beat the Islanders. It wouldn't stun me if Edmonton follows their predecessors and beats Florida this time. But Florida, is just, they're so much fun to watch. They're tough, too.
Jump in there, Capoots.
Well, I just don't understand why there aren't more people at the Oilers Plaza like the Leafs. I mean, it's just kind of a little empty in there. They keep showing it like it's the Leafs, and there's a few people running around, you know, on a little scooter or whatever.
It's a smaller city.
You know, it's like not nearly as many. No, Edmonton's going to win the Cup. I don't know if it's this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid's arguably the greatest hockey player of all time. By the eyeball test, in my opinion, he is. And,
Really?
you know, they have Draisaitl, and they have all these other great players. And Zach Hyman, former Michigan product, the guy's been amazing. All the hits, those 2 goals he had today, I mean, he really has been one of those players.
If you're Steve Yzerman, do you have any takeaways from watching these playoffs as you're building your team? I mean, obviously, look, Steve Yzerman understands what it takes to win in the NHL, but do you think you take anything away from this?
Well, in his favor, look how long it took Edmonton to get. I mean, McDavid, what's his 9th year already, and finally he's going to, you know, probably, in your opinion, win the Stanley Cup. When you look at Florida, they're so tough to play against. You know, guys like Bennett, you know, everybody would love to see the Wings get it. Are you going to spend $10, $11 million for a guy like him? I don't know, but I love the way Florida plays. They're tough, they bang, and they can score, and they get great goaltending.
If I were Steve Yzerman looking at that and say, well, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, they're 2 different sports.
I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, maybe we could use a few guys like that. You know, like Hyman, who's got double-digit hits per game. You know, maybe a Connor McDavid or a Leon Draisaitl.
I think anybody would like that.
Yeah, you know, or, you know, somebody that can move the
You
puck.
really
like
said he's
Bouchard.
the best player of all time?
By the eyeball test. It's not, you know, the records haven't been determined. It's still to be
He's great.
maintained.
Quickly before we go, it's been interesting for the former Red Wing family members. Jeff Blashill gets a job in Chicago. Ken Holland now has a job in L.A. where he's promised to shake things up and be aggressive. Brendan Shanahan out in Toronto.
Well, it's tough on those guys, but hopefully Jimmy D doesn't land with, you know, with the Anaheim Ducks as Pat Verbeek's assistant or something.
Well, Pat.
You know, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, they keep recycling these guys. But I think Blashill, and people didn't like this when I said it, but I think he's a pretty good coach. He was an impossible.
He had no talent.
He was an impossible
tough situation.
You know, to win. So we'll see how that goes.
They've been rebuilding there for a while, though. He's got his work cut out for him in Chicago.
Yes.
But Ken Holland.
Ken Holland, you know, really, man, I'm not so sure on that one. I love Ken.
I want to see what aggressive by Ken Holland looks like, and we'll see what that looks like because that's what he said. He's
Franz
gonna be aggressive
Nielsen's
in rebuilding
available.
that thing.